Hey friends, this is Shanna Kramer with Creatively Uncorked, and today we're going to be painting Joy in watercolor. This nice, cute little wreath is something that would work great on a holiday card or just something to hang on your wall. Thanks for painting along with us today. You're watching this either because you got an art kit to go from Creatively Uncorked or you are a member of ours. If you got your art kit from us, then we'll be sending you out a pre-sketched piece of paper. And this is watercolor paper. It's 140-pound arches, if you're curious. And we have our watercolor pans. This is very similar to one that you would have received from us if you're using your own supplies and you're doing your own tracing. You don't have to include this much detail. You include as much detail as you think you need. I normally would not include this much, but just because it's a demo and yours might be this detailed, I'll just make mine the same way. So we have our watercolor. We have our board in this case, which you may or may not have or have gotten. Some tape, just to tape down the corners, and then also to put under my board just to keep it tilted up a little. And we'll have some brushes. Your kit would have come with a brush similar to this, similar in size to this. And if you ordered extra brushes, you would have gotten something similar to this. If you are a Creative Box Live member, then you've probably received this in your art kit already. Okay, let's get started. Other supplies you would be needing: a cup of water and sponge or paper towel. That's about it. I think that's everything. So what I have here, these paints do need to be wet before they can be used. So to activate your paints, you can either use your brush and just dunk it in the water and drip some water into each pan, or do it the easy way and use your spritzer bottle. And you want to do this at least 10 minutes before you start painting. Give those colors a chance to activate and get going. Now, this painting we're going to be doing mainly with the small brush. So if you got an art kit to go and you only have this small brush, perfect. You're not going to have any trouble with this at all. Let's just take a look at that full-size image here. So you'll notice we have 3 different types of leaves. We have the holly, we have the pine, and then we have the other, which I think I'll call, let's see, mistletoe? Yeah, we'll call it mistletoe. And if anybody argues with that, you can just tell them it's the way you want it to look. All right, and then we've got some holly berries, of course. A few little pieces of decor on the side. So I'm going to start with my holly berries. And you can see that they each have highlights that are not drawn on here. You'll just have to leave that spot blank, wherever those are. So I'm just going to go ahead and take some pure red out into my well. This is the pan, this is the well. Okay, small brush, mixing a little water in that. You can see how thick this is, right? You can't really see through it on the thicker part, so I would call this milk consistency probably. And you decide what side you want your highlights on, and make sure you keep it consistent with all of them. And do have a lot of water on your brush. It makes it a lot easier. There we are. Okay, so now that I've got those each filled in, I'll take a little bit of purple. I'll just do a shadow dot on each side. So the shadow goes opposite of the highlight. Okay, easy peasy. I'll let that go. Get a little more red in the brush here and move on to my next group. And I start by painting just around the edges. Sorry if I'm getting my hand in the way here. And then fill in everything that's not a highlight. So paint around the edges, fill in everything not a highlight. And back to adding our shadows, I'll go back and pick up that purple again and drop some of that purple opposite of the highlight. There, maybe that's a little bit better view. All right, so back to the red again. Continuing on. Same story, you know how it goes now. Lots of water on the brush. Then back to the purple, pick up that shadow color, and just drop that in opposite the red, or opposite the highlight. Again with the shadow. I think these shadows down here got a little dark. We'll see if I can pick that color up a little bit. Or maybe just move it around so it's not so thick. There. Good enough. All right, so moving on to that last group. And the shadow. You should be getting pretty good at leaving those highlights by now. All right, moving on. Let's go to take a look at this original again. So the holly, that's going to be the lightest green. So let's go with that next. And this, oops, there you can see it. All right, making a mess of the paints here. Okay, so this really light green over here. Just take some of that, add a little water, and that's going to be my holly color. The holly is here. Now what's going to happen here, if you touch the red that's still wet, it's going to blend. So if you don't want it to blend, try not to touch those two colors together. If you don't care if they blend, or if you like the look of the blend, which is sometimes really nice, go for it. All right, so when you do the holly, basically it's just one big swoop down the middle, and that's going to be the stem or the spine, and then a couple of swoops down the edge. Okay, and you can even add in a touch of a slightly darker color on some of the stems if you like. Not going overboard, I just like a little bit of a color blend. All right, back to my light green. Where's my next holly? How about right here? And I'm just drawing in the spines first and then the edges, and filling it all in. When you are finished with this, if you drew your pencil lines really dark, they will probably still show. I think that's part of its charm, so I'm not worried about it. If you are worried about it, however, maybe you don't want to draw yours so dark. All right. Let's see if I can blend that color out a little bit. All I did was dampen my brush, wash it, dry it off a little on the sponge, and then I can use it to blend some of those colors. There. And more holly. I'm just going to turn this so I don't stick my hand in wet paint. And keep going. I'm just going to fill all these in very quickly, because when I do my shadowy blend, I want to make sure I can do that while the paint is still wet. So I'm going to paint this pretty quickly. Okay, and then we'll take that dark green. I kind of like dark green and red mixed together. they kind of dull each other down. They're opposites on the color wheel. Red and green are. One more holly. Group of holly, I guess. And back to that dark green or greeny red. And just dropping in a few little dark colors along the stem just to give it a little bit of depth. Last little bit of holly. The nice thing about these small round brushes is you can use these for everything, literally this entire painting. Small round works perfect. But you weren't even thinking about brushes, were you? And enough of that. Let's move on. All right, all my holly is now on the page, and we've got a couple of other different leaf types. So just taking a look back at the original, I've got, do we want to do the pine next or the wiggly branches? Let's do wiggly branches. What did we decide to call those? Mistletoe? Well, in this case, the mistletoe is going to be more of a blue-green. So I'll come over here to the turquoise blue and just add it to my green well. Okay, and then how tricky is this going to be? The hardest part, keeping your hands out of the wet paint. I'll just start right over here and then expect that I'll be turning this to fill everything in. So now to make those little round leaves, just press down and pull in, press down and pull in. So this is why I was saying that you really don't need to draw all that detail to begin with. I think it's actually easier to not draw it on and then just to do it with a brush. Okay, I'll see if I can get this next one a little bit closer for you. So I've got this leaf right here. Maybe I can just zoom it in. Zoom, zoom. Nope, that's about it. Okay, that's it for the zoom. All right, so I'm just adding in that spine and just press down, pull in, press down, pull in, press down, pull in. See that? Both sides of the stem or the spine. See that? So it's actually easier to not have it all sketched out first, I think anyway. Although you can do it however you like. There we are. And I'll keep right on going with the next one. Running out of paint, so I'll pick up a little bit more. So press down, pull in, press down, pull in. And I know this might look like a mess over here with my blues and my reds and greens and everything all in the same well. But one of the interesting things about watercolor is the variety and the variation in color that you can get. And one really easy way to do that is to have a mess on your palette. So every time I reach over here and grab a new color, I'm going to have a slight color variation on my painting. So isn't that easy? Easy peasy and lovely. Keep right on going all the way around. Pick up a large amount of paint, as much as the brush can hold. Every time you pick up paint, just scoop it up. Big another scoop of paint there. it's an easy technique, just a few different types of leaves with a few different colors. Once you get the hang of this, you're going to be painting these everywhere. I'm telling you, you can make your own holiday cards. How about that? Custom holiday cards that you made by you that you can send out to your friends and family. All right, back to the original. We have some nice little pine. Would you call it a Norway pine maybe? Maybe, maybe not. But it's a variety of colors. So each of those pine leaves is going to have a little bit of light green, some blue, maybe a little yellow. So let's get to our variety. So let's try a super light green. I'll add it here. Even a yellow to that because it's pretty bright. Okay, and I'll have this blue still over here. All right. I also want to have kind of a watery color, so okay. So I'm loading up the brush and then just tapping it on my sponge to take the excess water out. And now you should be holding it very gently, like barely holding the brush, light touch, just slightly drag, and just follow. See, how I'm holding the brush way out here. Make sure you have a lot of water in it. Let's change colors. Now we're going to see all of these colors in here. Isn't that nice? Gorgeous. Keep her right on going. I'll add the next one. So just drag it along the spine and then a couple of little, I know it's hard to see, you kind of have to hold that straight up and down onto your paper. I'll hold it like this. New color. And we'll just add a little bit of that light green in there. So we get a variety with our turquoises and our light greens. Very nice, I like it. All right, moving on. We'll just go right on to the next one. I'll take a little bit of that watery blue again. And I want these to be really faint and faded. So I'll just go with my little watery colors here. More watery than any of the colors we've used so far, because these are just kind of a light touch, adding a little color. Add some of that yellowy green. Make sure you leave some air in here. Leave some white spots. So don't go overboard. We're just making a little, there. Tilt it up so you can see. Pick up a new color. See that? There's still some gaps in there and we still have a nice variety of colors. Last one. Let's see, I'll do that again so you can see it. Right along the edge. And a bunch of little pine needles. New color. All right. Well, I gotta say, that is looking pretty darn fantastic, don't you think? Nice and bright and happy and joyful. Let's go back to the original, and you can see the last couple of things that we have there are going to be the dots. In this case, there were some yellow dots that are right along the outside, just randomly here and there. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll just take a little yellow, all on its own, and wherever we want our dots to be. So we can go dot, 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 dot. There's a little more green that time. Dot, dot, dot. Let's see here, we can put some. Really, you put these anywhere that you want. Any place you feel like you might have some gaps that could use a couple of dots, add some dots. Even better. All right. I think it's looking pretty darn good. Ready for the hard part. Trying to scare you. Is it working? Okay. So we just have this last bit, the word joy, and that is basically just your handwriting. Okay. So don't stress out about it. Everybody's got their own handwriting. If you think your handwriting looks terrible, you're probably not right. Okay. Everybody has great handwriting to some extent or another, and it just looks bad. It might look bad to you, but it's not going to look bad to someone else. So here's what I'm doing. I'm mixing up red, thick red in the well. Okay, so it's pretty thick. Brush is fully loaded. Now, this part, this is what I'm doing, and I'll try to, I can't really tilt it to show you, but it's going to be perpendicular straight on to the paper. And I have my fist right at the bottom of the paper, and that's just to keep from sticking my hands in the wet paint and to keep my brush pointing down. All right, so pull the brush stroke down. Okay, we're just going to do all the down brush strokes. The O is down. The Y is down. This part of the Y is also down. Don't forget the dot. All right, so now we'll come back here and take some more red paint, load it up with red paint, and then we'll do the opposite downstrokes, which are going to be a little bit thinner. So if you press lightly with your brush, you get thin strokes, more firm pressure, and you're going to get thicker strokes. So these second strokes, group of strokes that we're doing right now are going to be thin. We added our heavy, robust strokes at the beginning, and now the thin ones. See, that wasn't so tough. Nice and easy. There you have it, Joy in watercolor. You can swap this out for any word that you want to add there. Nice and easy. You've got the techniques down now. You've got all these nice 3 different kinds of leaves that you now know how to paint. You can put on anything that you want. Thanks a lot for painting with me today. And if you're not yet a member, check out our memberships at creativeboxlive.com. You can also find the link from creativelyuncorked.com. Hope to paint with you again. See you soon.